This is Ryan Fletcher from Radio BVM, and we have a special musical guest with us here today, Ralph Shaw. Hello, Ralph.
Hello.
Thank you for coming in and bringing your entertainment to our museum today.
Yeah, so it's always my pleasure. I've been traveling around California, Oregon, Washington, and it's nice to be back home again here at Burnaby Village.
Yeah, you live in the village.
Well, not too far away.
Not
but
too
it feels
far away.
like home. I've been coming here a lot over the years.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always enjoy your entertainment, and you come at our Christmas season.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a real treat for our people here today. Maybe you can get us a little sample of some of your the music side of what you do, and we'll then get in a little bit further into the whole picture of your work.
Sure, let's do that. I'm going to sing a song from 1925, and this instrument I'm playing is a Gibson banjo ukulele that was made in 1927, so I wonder if the person who first owned this instrument actually played this song when it was first a hit. And speaking of going home, this is a song about going home. The song says home in Pasadena, but really it's all about that great feeling of getting on a train and going back to familiar places and familiar things. Oh, you railway station, oh, you Pullman train, here's my reservation for my destination, far beyond the western plain, to see my home in Pasadena, home where grass is greener, where honeybees hum melodies and orange trees scent the breeze. I'm gonna be a home sweet homer. There I'll settle down beneath the palms in someone's arms in Pasadena town. Home in Pasadena, home, 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 home.
Very nice.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much, studio audience.
Now, you're pretty handy around that ukulele. Is that the first instrument you learned, or what's the first instrument you learned to play?
Well, funnily enough, this was the first instrument I ever held, but I never learned to play it because my granddad had a banjo ukulele, and it was just an old thing that was lying around the house when I was a kid. My dad didn't put, gut strings on it. He just used gardening twine, and you couldn't play it. So it was always a mystery object for me. And so I grew up learning other instruments like the harmonica, and I took clarinet lessons. And then about 25 years ago, I picked up a ukulele and just discovered the power that it has just to play simple songs, and it's just a wonderful instrument.
Yeah, I was surprised watching you playing because I always think of it in terms of simple songs, but you were doing a lot of moving around there on the chords and things.
Yeah, well, I think that was probably not exactly accurate because the songs I play have a lot of chords in it. They're not that simple. So
yeah.
It wasn't really true. But with there being only 4 strings, it means that the fingering isn't that hard. So you can change chords a lot, and it makes those songs really come to life, I think.
Now, what got you into doing this historical style of performing?
It comes exactly from what we were just saying. When I first got my hands on a ukulele, I tried doing modern songs, but they all have, 3 chords and or 4 chords, and they didn't sound all that interesting anymore when you take all the other instruments away. So with the ukulele, you need to have great quality songs, and the era of the 20s, 30s, and 40s had wonderful, well-crafted lyrics, interesting melodies that were really memorable, and then the chord changes that were always moving, always changing.
Okay. And this is just one in your bag of tricks. And you describe yourself as vaudeville style. What exactly is that?
Yeah, I think possibly more accurately, I would say it's like British music hall, but it has a very strong connection to vaudeville. Charlie Chaplin, Stan Laurel, all came out of British music hall and went into vaudeville. And this was a style of family entertainment that really was multifaceted. And you could go to a vaudeville show and each act was only between 7 and 12 minutes long, and you might watch a dog act and then hear an opera singer and then see a comedian and then an acrobat. It was like that, and the performers were of a special breed. They could really connect to a live audience that not all performers can nowadays, and what I find is really interesting and connected to what we're doing here with the radio show is that radio came out of that, and radio used to be so entertaining back in the 30s. You'd hear a radio drama followed by jazz music, followed by classical music. You had all this variation, and when that was supplanted by top 40 radio, it was a really sad thing because radio got very segregated and divided then.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And I want to ask you about yodeling as well. You will just tell us a bit about yodeling in general, and then sort of how you got into it.
Yeah. Well, again, yodeling is one of those skills that came over with the immigrants from Europe, particularly Switzerland. And,
right, that is right, isn't it?
Yeah, and it got sort of picked up by the cowboy culture in the late 1800s, and then again it was used as part of the entertainment style by certain vaudeville performers. One, I'm trying to remember his name. It was Emmett somebody, I forget his name. Anyway, so. Yeah, yodeling and variations of it became used in all kinds of ways. How the cowboy culture connected to Hawaiian music and back, and the use of a falsetto and the
right.
deeper sounds, and it all kind of got mixed together. And I myself discovered yodeling when I was in Winnipeg, and I heard an old fella called...
That's an odd place to discover it.
Well, there was this fellow in a cowboy bar. His name was Yodeling Stu Clayton.
Yeah.
And my goodness, could he yodel? And I went away from that thinking, after seeing this room of full of people just drinking the beer and banging their hands on the table after every song, I thought that's what I want to do. So I've been working on finding a way to bring yodeling and ukulele together, and I've come up with my own musical form. It's called yodelele music.
Right. Now, when you're is it difficult to learn? Because you have to use quite a lot of range, or how do you prepare your voice for something like that?
Well, first of all, you have to find somewhere far away from other people. Technically, I'm not totally sure what's going on. I just heard the sound I wanted to make and then tried to make it and then just developed it. But I think really what's happening is you're switching from the lower register to the falsetto. So you have to make sure you can do the that kind of falsetto, which is sort of a pinching of the vocal cord is what happens. But if you can do the high note and the low note, so it's a very fast.
So you're going up and down, fast. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very fast switching from low to high notes. But
can you give us a sample?
Your lady, lady, oh your lady. I'm not really warmed up, but that's the kind of idea.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would assume you would have to warm up for something like that.
Yeah, and it's very easy to yodel badly. That's the thing. Because, you know...
I can do it.
Well, there you go. So, yeah, you've got to... The notes have to be, accurate for it to sound good, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's the key to yodeling. It's one of those things that's both simple and difficult at the same time.
So how long did you have to work on it before you felt like, I'll do this in my act now?
Oh, I have no shame. I was using it pretty quick. Well, the thing is, I've already worked for a while as a singer, so it took me a few weeks, before I felt ready to use it. And even then, I wasn't all that great, and I probably still am not compared to some of the champion yodelers out there. Yeah, but depending on your singing ability, it's going to depend on how long it takes to do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another one of these skills is whistling. Right, a lot of people take it for granted because a lot of people can whistle, but whistling well, where you're staying on pitch and able to do the warbling sounds, that kind of thing, that's another one of these arts that used to be a specialty act. The person called
a whistler.
Yeah, siffleurs they were called.
Oh,
and they would come on stage and just, whistle arias and popular tunes for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
to wild applause.
Well, can we get a sample of that now?
Oh, okay.
It's very bird-like.
Well, that was the idea.
Yeah, is to be bird-like, yes.
Yeah, I was just improvising something there, but I was trying to put in a few warbles and techniques in for you there. And it's funny you should say that, because it show you what artists birds are. There they are, whistling away, we take them for granted, and they're incredible. What artists.
Yeah, they got high-flying careers.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
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 Okay, and I guess one more thing is with the idea of engaging performances, what are some things that are important in engaging an audience, or what do you think the secret is to getting an audience engaged?
Well, now you're asking, right? And we see a lot of performers that are great at their music, great at whatever they do, but not necessarily, they don't have that aspect of showmanship. And there are many factors for this, right? There's lots of things you have to be able to do. You have to know your stuff. You have to make eye contact with the audience, not be afraid of them, to enjoy entertaining them, and be willing to try out things, take risks, and have a mind that comes up with new ideas, things that you think will entertain. And I think it's all about the idea of wanting to entertain rather than wanting to make music or whatever your art is. It's like the entertainment comes first. Is the audience having a good time? And doing whatever you can to make that happen. Okay.
And you'll be performing at 1 o'clock. And what are your other performance times?
Coming up soon. 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us here on Radio BVM.
My pleasure, Ryan. Nice to be here.
This has been Ralph Shaw on Radio BVM.